Welcome to Don't Whistle at Night podcast, where Navajo legends echo in the shadows. Darren and Dawn will guide you through the sacred fire of native storytelling, where the old stories breathe, the unknown walks among us, and voices, long hidden, rise to be heard. And remember, don't whistle at night.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome to Don't Whistle at Night. We are broadcasting live here on the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans. I'm your host, Don Yazzie. With me, my co-host, Darren Yazzie. He'll be joining us very shortly. Today, our guest. Oh, this is a pre-recorded episode as well, so this is not a live. So apologies out there to all you live episode lovers. So apologies. And if you're joining us after the show called The Chat, welcome in. I am your host, Don Yazzie. Darren, my co-host Darren Yazzie will be in shortly. He'll be in a little late, but no worries, no worries. We'll keep you all on ice for him. And so today's our guest is Mr. Evander Allen out of Helchita, Utah, another fellow Utahan, just like yourself here. And right now it is 78 degrees here in St. George, Utah, where we are broadcasting out of. And without further ado, let's meet our guest here. His name is Evander Allen. First time on any podcast, first time on any show. So, it's an honor. Here he is.
Hi, how's it going, Don?
Hey, not too bad, not too bad. Just enjoying this warm weather down here, man. How about you? How's the weather
For
your way?
sure. Over on this side of on Utah, it's a little bit colder on my side. Over here on the eastern side. Yeah, definitely. I love the intro, by the way. I was watching. That was pretty cool. And again,
Oh,
thank you
yeah,
for
yeah.
inviting me to your show. It's such an honor.
Oh, hey, likewise, and hats off to Rai Voss. You might like his show. His show is called Codega's Codex of Curiosities. So yeah, he explores the high strange as well, and he has a very interesting background himself because he used to be in like the new age stuff. So there's still many interesting things that I am learning from him, and he's a very good friend so far, and he helped us out with that entryway, which is
Nice.
cool.
Heck yeah.
Oh yeah. So okay, so usually I let Darren on here. He just chats away, and he introduces us to the next guest, which is you right now. So without further ado, Mr. Evander, can you introduce yourself to the listeners out there, and you can start off from your origin story to your first paranormal experience in life.
Well, definitely. Again, it's such an honor to be on your show again. My name is Evander Allen. I'm 27 from Helchita, Utah. Tapahan go Tatpini Basishin, Hasklisidate, Fiandatrella was the clan system I was raised on. But I was adopted, so my biological clans, Tutchikni, Balagana, Tobahan, Balagana. Since my biological father is European descendant, Balagana, my mom is Navajo, but my grandparents raised me, so they're mom and dad to me. But yeah, growing up here most of my life, you definitely grow up hearing all the boogeyman stories of, don't whistle at night, don't talk about it at night, otherwise, you'll bring the evil spirits here. Growing up, I definitely had my fair share of experiences with the supernatural and paranormal, and I would like to share some of my stories with you guys today.
Please, it's an honor. It's an honor. Thank you for coming on as well, and welcome to the family here at Don't Whistle at Night. Welcome.
Definitely, it's an honor again. Forgive my nervousness again. This is the very first time I'm ever doing something like this. It's first time on a podcast. First time with having people actually listen to what I have to say, which is again a big honor to me. And again, just nervous but excited. It's a good nervous.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Um, as long as you're comfortable and we have good vibes for make you feel free to talk about, all this high strange word many people don't like to talk about, and us being Dene, we're shunned to talk about such things like this. And I like to say you're more than welcome here, and it's a very safe community here.
Heck yeah. Well, I appreciate that for sure. And I definitely have a unique viewpoint on this existence, this world, because I take a bit of everything from traditional Navajo teachings to LDS teaching, Christian teachings, Buddhism, Eastern philosophy. Like I said, my dad's European descendant. On that side of my family, I have the Greek gods, Roman gods, Norse gods, Celtic gods. And it's over my years of just spiritual journey, self healing, self growing, all this. I definitely met my fair share of gods and goddesses across the spectrum of this world, and each one has something to offer us, something to teach us, but they all want the same thing for us in the end, which is to be that kind of like that enlightened self, our best version of ourselves. And for me, I just do my best to live by that, to be my authentic self. This is who I am, Shade. It's like I'm proud of who I am. And over these past few years too, it's embracing that I am mixed. I'm half Navajo, half white. Embracing both ancestries. Coming together as one being, one person. I found it very interesting, and definitely have a lot of unique experiences on my part. And I just want to do my best to share that with everybody, see if I can help, guide people on their path, on their um, upcoming, bringing themselves back up. And, I'm always open to any questions, any, teachings I would like to offer to those struggling in their own darkness. But yeah, the paranormal, spiritual ties together for me. I remember growing up, always watching Ghost Adventures on TV, watching the um, urban. I can't think of it right now. I'm spacing it.
Urban legends.
Right. Good to
Yeah.
meet you, Darren. Welcome.
But,
But yeah, those urban
yeah, here.
exploration videos in the abandoned areas as well, like the haunted asylums, haunted abandoned buildings. Um, used to always get my attention when I was a teenager for sure. But yeah, all of this didn't
Mm.
really start for me until about college time. The path of a pagan, a witch, that's kind of what I identify as well as being Navajo. Just taking off from there. It's a whole crazy, fun adventure story that I just don't even know where to start.
Hey, that sounds good, man. That sounds good. I'm pretty sure that everyone is gonna like this episode and just, getting to know you. And not many people get to hear what it's like, as your situation, your half, and not many people speak about it and share about it. And this is very interesting, from a unique, different pair of shoes, if you will.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And oh yeah, yeah. So, what was the okay? So, what was the first time that you realized that you had the ability to do like what you do? Like your ability to read and do the tarot cards and the supernatural gifts that I would like to say. A lot of people say cursed, but I don't like to say that. I say gifts. So, what age did you find out that you're gifted or you had that type of abilities?
I was thinking about this earlier today. Looking back on my early childhood, I do have two distinct memories that popped up for me. I think I was in elementary. I was probably second or third grade, which would be about 7, 8. I remember just walking down the hallway, and here in Mexican Hat, the old elementary school had like the brick building with trailers attached, add-ons. So there's a hallway connecting the trailers to the main building. So you had these double doors, like open and closed. They were both open. And I remember walking down, going to the library, going to lunch. All of a sudden, just like a power surge happened. All the lights just black out. Door slams, light turns back on, and the teacher comes around the corner and this is like, what happened? What'd you do? And I had no explanation. Just lights turned off, doors slammed. I have no idea what that was. Never got an explanation for that one. That one was one I remember when I was a childhood, when I was a kid, when I was kind of a young teenager. There was these old dormitories here in Helchita that was burned down in the 80s. So it's just like concrete rooms, the foundation. We were bored just climbing through the ruins, just climbing through all the walls and stuff. And I felt something touch me, like base of my back, like sliding a hand up in my entire spine. I remember doing a 180 real quick. There was nobody there. I was by myself, and I think it was at night, if I remember correctly. And that was when I was more of a teenager. So those are the two paranormal experiences I had when I was here on the res. But I wasn't really introduced to magic, spirituality, and all this stuff until I went to college. Freshman year, I met this other student who was there. She claimed to be Egyptian descendant, that she was a powerful Egyptian witch and all that. So she was curious to ask me, oh, let me read your energy. Let me read your aura. And this is when I didn't believe in anything. I think I was mostly an atheist back then. I didn't believe in any of the gods. I didn't believe in any magic. I was more logical, I was like, oh, science can explain everything type of person. So I didn't know what to do. I just entertained her, I was like, oh, here's my magic, here's my energy. So she read that, and she just kind of read my energy for a while. And she just found me to be a very interesting being, to her words. I have 4 distinct energies. I still don't quite understand it to this day, but she said I had like wolf energy, bat energy, dragon energy, and phoenix energy. And I didn't understand those at the time. And, I thought this was like, oh, this is she's such a nerd, a geek, geeking out over what she knows. And my years in college, just slowly being introduced to tarot readers, tarot cards, all this stuff. I still was really skeptical back then. And then COVID hit. I dropped out of college, came back home, and I just kind of forgot about everything again until, life happened. I hit rock bottom, felt even worse about my life, and I hit rock bottom's basement. So I was like at the lowest in my life, and I just kind of was close to giving up, and then I don't know, I just felt a presence, a voice or something, not a voice, but just something pushing me to not give up, to get back up, to keep climbing. And I just, on TikTok, on social media, if you believe like the algorithm, they show you what you need to show, kind of type of thing. Goddess Hecate started popping up a lot for me. The Greek god of the crossroads of witchcraft, of magic, of the shadows type of thing. And so I just started to follow her, to follow her teachings, look into her. And I went into all of this to kind of like debunk it in a way, to disprove it to myself. Like, oh, the gods aren't real, magic isn't real. All of it can be explained by logical thinking. So that's initially what started me down this path, was to prove myself wrong. But so far, everything's just been kind of, as I see it now, I was put on the path I was meant to walk without realizing it. And all the trials, all the challenges that I've been through in these last 3 to 4 years specifically, facing my inner demons, facing my inner shadow, making peace with my darkness, all that's just thanks to Hecate. for me at least, she's my savior. She was the one who showed me my inner strength, that I am worth living, that I am worth, living this life, getting back up, continuing to grow and to heal, to eventually share this with whoever I can. Maybe they're in a similar circumstance, and maybe they're, like how I felt. I was alone. I felt isolated, and she showed me that I'm not. She showed me the how to appreciate the families, the friends, the connections I make in this life. Whether there's passing by, like I work at a gas station, so I see tourists every summer. But maybe like once in my lifetime I'll meet them. I'll make sure that interactions, like, they'll remember that for a while, because that's just what I want to do now. Because I've learned to this point that my light is worth, growing, worth nurturing. And it took me a very long time to get here. And with that spiritual path, you definitely have to face the worst parts of yourself, the darkest corners of your subconscious, basically. And I used to avoid that a lot. I used to legitimately not want to look at my darkness, acknowledge my darkness. I was, if I ignore it, it'll get better, type of thing. But with the gods, with the tarots, they taught me that there's more to it under the surface, that everything's not how it looks here. This the problem, the solution's here. The deeper you look into the problem, you can find the roots of the pain, root of the trauma, and then from there you can start healing. And so with that spiritual path, I found that inner healing, inner love, inner light. And that made me, the person I am today. The lessons that I learned to this day are from the spiritual path I walked. And I find it all very interesting. And I kind of laugh at it now, that I was really skeptical back then compared to now, to where I'm open to any of the gods and goddesses out there, no matter which religion, no matter which culture they're from. If they have a lesson that, they need to teach me, or a lesson that I need to learn, I will look for those opportunities, whether it comes from, the Christian gods, the Navajo gods, any pagan or Celtic gods. They all want the same thing for us. And yeah, that's kind of where I stand on my spiritual stance, I should say.
That's very interesting, man. Well said. Well said. I mean, it's good to know that you found your way. Instead of a lot of people where they would get into drugs, just get into promiscuity, and just become a ball of drama. That's what I've seen a lot, and a lot of people growing up from where you and I come from, they don't live that very long, and they live a short life.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they're not good. They're not really good to hang around and be around, because you'll end up just like them. Alcohol and all that bad stuff. But there are good people such as yourself, and that's really good to know, because I hightailed it out of there as soon as I hit 18. I was like, boom, I'm out of here. But it's good to know that there's interesting people there such as yourself, and thank you for existing, and thank you for finding yourself, because I'm pretty sure somebody out there needs to hear what you got to say, and probably can relate to what you have been through already. And we're here to talk about all the strange things that a lot of people don't talk about. Looks like Darren has internet issues there. Darren!
I know.
He just comes in, throws a pose, and then he
The
just leaves.
salad hightails out, yeah.
Reminds us he's here still.
Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, it legitimately took me a good minute to truly appreciate who I am as a person, that my uniqueness, my only I have this perspective on life type of thing. It's like that's true in all our cases. We all share our own unique perspective on this existence we call life. And yeah, unconditional love, respect, and kindness is pretty much the foundation of who I am as a person. And Hecate, along with a few other goddesses, just taught me that it's not my place to put my darkness onto others. It's my place to share my light with others. So that way they can overcome their own darkness. And I can only be here not only as a support system, but also as a guide to guide you on your own path to discover your own light. So that way, when your light's bright enough, you can pass that on to the next person, and so on and so forth. So that is where kind of like that the spiritual dream is of how I want to teach my ways is just to teach others to share that love, share that light, share that kindness with others simply because it's the right thing to do. And for me, I don't see the point in wasting my energy on negativity, on the doubt, on the anxiety, on the hatred. So if somebody hates me, I'll let them, because maybe I did do them wrong in the past. I don't know. Or they just have their own issues. But it's not my place to add my darkness to their darkness. All I can do is try to be there and, guide them through their own anger. If I did do them wrong, it's my place to apologize, to mend that relationship so I can better help them, help themselves type of situation. But yeah, it's like if you disrespect me, again, it's not my place to burpee, sorry. It's not my place
Oh,
to
you're
add my
good.
darkness onto your life. So yeah, it took me a long time to actually understand and grasp this concept of, you know, I don't care what people think about me. I'm not gonna waste my time overthinking about, the haters. Oh, they don't like me because of this. Oh, they don't like me because of that. It's like I that's just a waste of energy, a waste of words. Focus more that energy towards, the self-love, the self-kindness. If somebody is giving you a bad day, just understand that maybe they're going through a bad day and they just don't know how to handle the situation, because where we live, emotional intelligence is a factor here on how people don't really know the healthier ways to express their negative emotions. They more like you said, that the alcohol, the drugs, the pain that this life causes, some people can't handle that, and so that's what they turn to, drugs, to alcohol, to drinking. But yes, the only way to overcome that pain is just that, to find that togetherness, to find that community. Sometimes it's even to find that community within, because sometimes you only got you. In my case, for a while, I was just, alone doing this, walking this path by myself, alone, blinded to the support I had, blinded to the love I have for my friends, for my family. I was so convinced that I was walking this path alone until I started to, stop showing myself that hate, start showing myself that love. And that's what kind of woke me up to, oh, I have people who care about me. I have friends, I have family. Even for me, I work at a gas station, so I even have like some regulars, regular customers that care about me and I care about them. And that's something that I've learned to appreciate more and more these past few months, to appreciate what we have here. Where we live, it's such a beautiful place. We only got one home, one place to live, and but I'm Navajo, Shaded. This is my homeland. These are my people, and what I can do for them, help them become the best them possible. So if I can share and spread my light all over the Navajo Nation, help our sister tribes and our sisters people here to, better themselves, to be who they're meant to be. That's a dream of mine as well. Whether, like you said, you were just talking about it, sharing my voice here. If this hits somebody, just know that you're seen, you're loved, you're acknowledged. That me and Don here, we see you, we hear you, we love you, and yeah, that's just kind of the core of who I am as this being. If I can help, I will, because it's the right thing to do. If I can't help, if it's outside my abilities, I probably know somebody who can, a friend of, somebody in my community. And that's how we can grow as people, grow as a community. It says spreading all that hatred and negativity, spread that light, spread that kindness, and you never know which opportunities may come your way down the road. But yeah, I'm a little lost for words again.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. Doing a good job, man. Good job. Um, yeah. What really stuck out, from what you were saying earlier is that elementary school, El Cheetah, that Mexican elementary school. It was pretty haunted, but it
That's what
was
I heard.
haunted.
Yeah.
Have you heard any other stories from there? I heard just a little bit, but I wish I could remember. I can't remember, but
I remember hearing about how the showers are turned on by themselves because I'm trying to remember the layout of the school. You had like the cafeteria, and then you had like the locker room area where you had like an in-house shower. I remember people saying that you can hear the showers turn on by themselves when there's like nobody in the bathroom, or you can hear like kids laughing, crying, like when there's nobody in the bathrooms, but you can hear 'em, when you walk by, stuff like that. But I don't remember hearing or seeing anything myself besides the
wow.
the, the doors closing and opening.
And the power going off. Jeez, just
Yeah.
imagine what that teacher seen for her to say, "What did you do?" But
Right. That's I,
when
I
I
legit felt like I was the cause of that in that moment. That's legit how the teacher reacted. But I have no clue what happened. It was just the power surge I can explain, it happens often, but the doors closing, slamming shut on their own, that's where it's like, okay, maybe it's something more
mm,
than just a power
yeah,
surge.
yeah, like when I went to school there, I remember like kindergarten or so. There was an older girl. She was in the boys' bathroom, and this is the hallway that's by the library, the hallway, that long hallway that goes to the front by the office.
Yeah,
The
yeah, I
old
know which
school.
one.
So that restroom, remember there's the boys and the girls side by side.
Yeah.
So the boys, like when I was walking there, a lot of kids were running out screaming, and then more kids were all trying to go in there. And some kids grabbed me, they dragged me in there. A whole bunch of kids were around this one girl. She's older, she's taller than us, and she's like, "You guys better not get scared. You guys better not get scared." So they closed the door and turned off the light, and she started doing the Bloody Mary. Bloody
Oh
Mary.
gosh.
And the girl showed up on the mirror. The from what I remember, the screen was turned lit all green, like the lights came on the outline, and the
Uh-huh.
girl was coming up. And I started to see her figure, and she was coming closer to the mirror. And that's when I started floating to the front door. All the kids, we all just went. I just got carried out to the front
Everybody's booked
onto
it.
the ground. Yeah, onto the ground. All the kids were screaming, and I was trying to get up. I was crushed, but that girl got in trouble. That
Oh
girl,
no.
yeah, and I don't remember seeing her again. I wish I could remember her name, but she was an older girl, probably fifth grade, fourth grade, while I was in kindergarten. And um, so I know a teacher and a janitor that worked there,
Uh-huh.
and they would tell my aunt and uncle, they're like, "Hey, it's haunted. You guys want to come down? You guys can come down whenever you want. You can walk around while I grade papers, and my husband's gonna clean the classrooms." And then two of my uncles are teenagers, like, "All right, let's go then, let's go then." So they showed up there. The wife went to her classroom to go grade papers. Then the husband went to go take out trash or whatnot. And the two boys were exploring, wandering around a different wing of the elementary school. And is he there? He is. Hey, hey, better late than never. You all right there?
Yeah, man. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
my laptop's having trouble jumping back and forth on two Wi-Fi signals. I'm sitting here trying to get everything right, but
Oh, there he goes.
Oh no.
He's
so
posed. Oh, there he is. Okay. Here. Oh, there he goes. He paused again.
Oh no. Is he lagging
Uh,
still?
Look at it. Yeah, he's posing for us again, guys. That's how he looks. Just need to add some antlers on there, man.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just
New
kidding.
mascot.
but but so my little uncles, they wandered around the campus, and from what I remember, they told that they heard somebody walking towards them, and what it sounded like was someone walking and started running after them. And how they can tell it started running was the keys jingling. It
Oh
sounded like a
no.
janitor with a lot of keys
Uh-huh.
in his hip. Yeah, they're and then I guess they started like, "What? Do you hear that?" Then they heard the footsteps, tuk, 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 tuk. They're running right behind them. They turned around. They ran back to they made it back to the classroom that the lady was in, the teacher, and they were crying when they made it. And when they were crying, they said one of them looked back to see what was running after them. They said all they saw was a naked body of a human torso
Oh,
after them. Yeah, that's all they saw. They didn't see the upper torso. It was just naked lower torso running like the
oh,
blade.
that's crazy.
Yeah, they were crying, and when they got back to the house, they left happy. And they came back, uh, shook up,
Oh, I
shook.
believe it. Traumatized.
Yeah, yeah, because they went to school in Kienta, and
Uh-huh.
everyone from Kienta looks down in Miami Valley and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, for
So
sure.
that's what happened to them.
Still
And
the same.
another one, yeah, yep, still the same to this day. And another one, this one teacher, he was a bad guy. He he essayed a lot of underage students,
Uh-huh.
mainly boys, and he recorded it on his home, his thingy. He always had a camcorder because he
Uh-huh.
was a teacher when I was a kid, and he was a coach and all that. So he was a bad guy, and when he expired himself, they started seeing his ghost at the school.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like one of the ones that really stuck out that I remember, that was told to me by the teacher. She's still around, but she's retired. She said this one lady told her, I guess she didn't show up for work one day, and I guess the following day she showed up and said, hey, um she okay, so the wing she was staying at was in the west wing, and then this math teacher, the bad teacher that expired himself, his classroom was in the very back to the right. And then that teacher knew him too, but her class was like probably three doors down to the left.
Uh-huh.
So they're in the same wing. And she said it's probably like 11 o'clock at night. She's grading her papers, and she heard do, 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 just going pow, 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 pow.
Yeah.
And she's like, what in the heck, that WTF? And she didn't want to leave her classroom. She had a bad feeling right away. And she opened her door, and she looked down the hallway, and it was coming from down that way. And she's like, oh man, I don't want to do this, but she did anyways. She didn't want to, but she did, like really curious, like this is not good. Why am I doing this? But I need to know. So she got closer and closer past the other classroom doors, and getting close to his bunch of locker rooms, to that door. And she's getting louder. The sound's getting louder. She's getting closer. The sound's getting louder. And she got to the window, how the windows are vertical and
Yeah.
4 inch,
Yeah.
So she peeked in there, and how that bad guy, the teacher, always had his desk is right all the way across the room, and his desk is right there, and he's facing towards you.
Uh-huh.
So he sees you when you're at the door and you're looking in, he looks like he can see you. So when she looked in that way, his desk was arranged in that exact spot. And she saw him with the banging. Boom, boom, boom. It was him. His silhouette, his curly long hair and stuff, and his clothes, the way he dressed. He was sitting there straight like this, but he was banging his head on the desk, bum 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 bum, really fast, really
Ooh.
fast. And she was watching him, and she stopped. He said he looked up. He's looking right at her. He stopped for a minute, and she turned around and ran and he started. I guess before she ran, she said he stopped for a minute and looked right at her. He seen they locked eyes, and he started banging his head on the desk again really fast, like supernaturally fast. And she turned and ran out, and I guess she ran back to her classroom and she crawled out the window.
Ooh.
So yeah, that's a ghost story. From
That's
that
probably the most terrifying one I've
documentary.
heard so far.
Yeah, especially because what that guy did,
Yeah.
it's a really dark history, and we're really finding out about that. So I think I'm glad they leveled that school.
Yeah, my class was the final class to go there back in 2012. 2012, my sixth grade class was the final one to be promoted there. Then they built a new one out in Mountain Valley, that new MV Elementary. And then I went to high school at MV. So I had legit been here my whole childhood, teenage years.
Hmm. That high school in Miami Valley is also haunted too. I've heard a few stories from there.
I can't remember if I don't think I ever had. If I did, I don't remember.
They're saying that.
Oh, no.
Oh,
I just remembered just now.
hell yeah!
We were. It was either a basketball game. It was because we were inside. I had my camera because I was in photography that year, so we had our cameras. So I think it was middle of winter or something. I remember just stepping outside because I don't like sports. I get bored. I don't. So I got bored of the game, so I decided to go out towards the football field where the bleachers are, just to take some night pictures. And some other kids were already outside, I think, and they were saying, they were kind of whispering to each other, did you hear that? Did you hear that? Did you hear that? And so they saw me coming up, and then they were talking that they heard some movements on the bleachers, something like just banging and stuff. So we just stood out there for a few minutes, and I think I heard a knock or something. I heard something like this, a loud bang on the bleachers, and I just out of curiosity, I went over there with my camera, all pitch black, but I used the camera flash, and I remember walking up the ramp, so it would be at the very lowest level. Something something was already telling me like, don't take a picture, don't do it. I ignored that, and I remember hitting the flash and physically with my own eyes seeing something standing in front of me that the flash hit. And so I took another picture with the flash, nothing there. So it was just the first time, not the second time. And so when I went into the camera to look at the photos, there was this something just standing right in front of me because you could see the outline of the mist. It wasn't a solid figure. It was just kind of looked like a mist person, kind of head, shoulders, something. But I remember distinctly seeing it with my own eyes when the flash came on, and it was so I captioned on photo, but
Wow.
I don't know what it was. I remember getting freaked out and going back inside. So I think that was the only time I had a paranormal experience that I remember at Mountain Valley High School.
Wow. Yeah, that boys the locker room is where a lot of the hauntings take place. There's always something closing and slamming that door. Even a few times too, there's a game going on, that door slamming and opening by itself, and everyone just kind of gets away from that part. So I remember that, and yeah, there's a lot of times where kids had ran out of the school crying because they had nowhere to sleep. They slept at the school. I myself was like, hell no, I ain't sleeping in here. I'm hitchhiking back to El Cheetah.
Right?
Yep, and I also heard that the football field was an Anasazi burial ground. I don't know how true that is.
I don't know, because I remember hearing that as well. Something on the football field. Maybe that would explain that figure I saw at the bleachers, because it didn't feel Balagana from what I remember. It felt older than that. I remember kind of that feeling.
Wow.
No, it was something
Man.
more. Yeah, something ancient.
Dang. Could be the fire deity or who knows, because I know the fire deity is also a shadow,
Yeah.
like a shadow mist type of guy. The fire and oh man, possibly the trickster. It could be different candidates for that. And there's also another one. There's another guy that his outline is blue. He's like dark and blue. He gives off a blue light, and he's the guy, the Pleiades. He has the Pleiadian symbol on his head. He's like a Navajo deity, and
Oh, okay.
he's like magic and all that stuff, and
Uh-huh.
he's like Bigfoot and Dogman's father, if you will.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
yeah, he's a very very interesting character. There's ways to conjure him up, but I actually kind of forgot how. I gotta remember. But that guy is real. He'll actually come into the house, and um depends on who can see him and who can't. But depend like how gifted you are, you'll see him, and other people that
Right.
will see him. He gives a blue outline or yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, he's like a magical, mystical guy. I can't quite remember his name. Yeah, but welcome in everybody. Welcome in Darren, everybody. What's up? This is a pre-recorded episode for you guys wondering. Sorry about that. What's up, Darren? How are you doing?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on wrong right now, but yeah, I think it's just becoming a staple right now. It always seems like it's something new when it comes down to the radio broadcast. So, it's all live. So, I'm just stuck right in the middle of life to myself, trying to figure out how to do some stuff. So, yeah, it was really nice meeting you, man. It was just right out of the blue, and I was just sitting there with a bag of chips, and I was like, wait, what the? Like, how did we even meet this guy? Like, where did he pop up? I was sitting there trying to talk with my cousin. Like, I don't know how we met him. We just came in and he just dropped a bunch of knowledge. It dropped a bunch of information on us, and we are like, we just kind of jumped back in the car and like, how did that even start? That went in a lot of different directions really quick, and I was really surprised, about everything you told us and everything that happened. So it was nice being out there too, and we did stop by the next day, and we let you know that the videos that you took were real. That was really super
yeah,
legit.
the stars, yeah.
Yeah, the stars, and that was super legit. We caught it, we seen it, and so all the stuff been validated. And we weren't the only ones too, which were surprising. The next day when we stopped by to let you know, we had I think it was like a foreign tourist talk here. I guess they were hearing us talk, and she said the same thing, and she was sitting there just really really surprised, and she's like, yeah, we seen that last night too. Like, so kind of, it's really good. It's really good to talk about stuff like this and get validation,
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I don't know what I missed from the first couple of minutes, but yeah, that place, my sister, as you say, my cousin's sister,
Oh yeah.
She went out there to get some get a song blessing done for her. She went up there and jumped in, and we went out to where you guys are from, and she just got really tired. She got really sleepy.
Oh yeah, and most do around here.
Yeah, she got really sleepy out of the blue, because when we were driving over there to pick up Don, we were talking. We're just really active and joking and stuff like that. So when we got there, the environment just changed and everything just got kind of real gloomy. So it was a nice experience though, for real.
It didn't help. I started sharing some of my dark stories. It didn't help, man. I was like,
dude.
This happened over here. And they killed my dog over here. They killed my cat. Yeah.
Right, but Darren's onto something though. He's not the first person here who has said that. Also, my cousin sister, my coworker, the one that from the Yanni story, she
Yeah.
says that our grandpa said that there's some very like dark, heavy energy over Helchita and like our area, just like down here. That I don't know, maybe it's like years of just something staying here in this area, or it could be because of the uranium that we have here in town. It could be a lot of factors, but for sure, there's a lot of like dark, heavy energy here in our little village. But to that earlier, what I usually teach my friends with me is learn to expect the unexpected. You're talking about just out of the blue. That's just kind of who I am. Out of in general, be quiet, calm. Next moment, if you hit the right button, if you hit the right topic, I'll just geek out on you for like hours on end if
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah,
And
for
yeah,
sure.
my friends, my family, they kind of know, and that's what I try to teach them now. Is like with me, just learn to expect the unexpected because life is full of chaos, and that's kind of where I fall in with the paganism, with the witchcraft. Chaos witch. I thrive in chaos because that's where life does most of its magic, whether
Right.
good, bad. I'm chaotic neutral because you can't have the way I see it, you can't have darkness without light, and vice versa.
Yeah, for sure. This life is just not one. It's not always going to be a happy story, If
No.
you teach yourself, the life lesson in that, that chaos, and all the sadness and all the hurt in this world,
Oh yeah, for
and you sit
sure.
there and you turn it into knowledge, you turn it into wisdom at the end of the day.
Oh yeah, for
So,
sure.
saying that, you're being the older one, you grow ahead of the younger kid, the younger generation, So just like how a good father would teach his kids, or a good mother would teach his kids, her kids, same thing with this, just out of life, you learn from it. And most of it you learn by mistake, you learn by an accident. Being a man, you out there, you learn, you're gonna make a lot of mistakes,
Oh yeah,
So
for sure.
that's how you learn, on that side. So, but on that topic too, it's yeah, that's what she felt, dude. Like, I don't know what it was. She just got a real sleep spell,
That's
spellbound,
interesting.
and we end up dropping, going back and dropping her off at the relatives, and when she jumped out, she was just happy go lucky, name it like it is, and that's one of the things that I was telling, Don and I were talking about this afterwards. We were sitting there eating, and yeah, just like generational PTSD, your body holds on to it. Your body holds on to this torture. Even when Don and I went out there, we seen his Bigfoot uh, encounter. He mentioned something. He's like, "I have a dream. I always dream about it, even though I'm done. I'm done with the hardship of it all. Is still that Bigfoot's always with me, and just the terror." And that's the same thing with generational PTSD. Being Native American, that's how it is. And for yourself, your own body, your spirit, you get caught in that PTSD to where your muscles and your bones know that terror, and you always hold on to it, or your body always holds on to it. Same thing with land. I believe that the land, it holds in that energy, holds it back. That's where you get all your ghosts and your recurring nightmares. I guess that would be for the land. You see the ghosts and see the terror of the land that it holds in. So that's one thing that people, I think, really got to look at and really try to understand before they do these searching for stuff. You really got to understand the land and the people first before you get a good understanding of what's going around and what's going on. But for that, it's the first place. It's the first time I've been out there.
Yeah.
Great long time, and I was sitting talking. Like, I don't know how people can get outside and just look at it. This is just their home. Like, look at all these amazing structures that the nature created. And it's like, wow. And I was sitting there thinking, like, man, I bet this place looks nice when it snows and when it rains. And
Oh yeah, for
but
sure. It's
but
something
besides,
else.
yeah,
Mhm.
and it's really nice. It's really nice being back and meeting individuals like yourself.
Oh
Just out
yeah.
of the blue, and they're like, whoa, like what the heck just happened? Right there? It was kind of meant to fall in line, fall in place. So, and
Oh yeah, for sure.
that's how you got here, and that's how Don and I, doing our first filming. So, saying on that topic, did you mention the dog, the
Not yet.
skinwalker?
Not yet. No. We're going to get into that soon.
We're
Okay.
in the origin
Oh,
phase. You didn't miss that
Oh, okay.
much.
All
Yeah,
right. Well,
yeah. He
we'll
talked
stick it.
about. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead,
we'll
there.
stick to the origin, because that's where it all begins. And I'll just leave that as a cliffhanger for right now. I'm pretty sure you got a lot more. I know
Yeah.
you got a lot more stuff. The time you talked about the tarot cards, and we're like, whoa, like this is, I never knew that, and this is the first time I actually, meeting a reader like that. And I was sitting here trying to marinate on what questions to ask, just not for the audience, but for myself. Like, what do you want to know, dude? I'm sitting here
Right?
talking to myself. So, and I know you got the answers for it. So, so that it's nice meeting you. I'm catching up right now. Almost going in an hour. So, let's keep going where you guys ended up the origin story. But yeah, the land was kind of weird. I mean, don't get me wrong. It has, everybody has its terrors, But
Oh yeah, for sure.
yeah, let's go back to the origin story, and we'll go. I think the internet's good right now, and let's keep rolling, dude.
Heck
All
yeah.
right.
Well, welcome,
We
welcome.
left off.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. Oh yeah.
to that, here
Welcome
goes.
in, everybody. Oh yeah. His drink's blurred. All right. We left off at the school, the elementary school,
School.
and what you saw at Miami Valley, the picture. So that right there is really validation. And I remember every year, whenever there's a new school year, they always had the medicine to bless the whole school, starting from one end, and he ends at the field. And sometimes he would take one whole day at the football field, and they would keep everyone inside the school. Everyone had
Right.
off the field except him. So he had to do that a lot every year. And the one year that he didn't do it, we lost every football game. So, so I was like, hey, dang it, where's he at? Let's roll him. I was just,
Right? Meaning Shay's blessing.
yeah. He made us lose every damn game this year. 9 games. But that's besides the point. So all right. Okay. So we covered that part, and after that you just pretty much were happy go lucky, and then you got into college, and that's when you started getting some more
Yeah, about not much I remember from high school. And then college is when I kind of had that sense of I think every teenager goes to this, like, out of high school, out of parents' house, I can be free. I know what I want. So I was kind of a wild child a little bit in college, just kind of running around, exploring the area. Have I had this newfound sense of freedom, and so that's when I discovered not only the Egyptian witch, the fellow student who initially read my energies, claiming that I was a very powerful sorcerer, or at least I had potential to be this very powerful magic wielder. And back then, definitely I had that more atheist attitude, like, oh, this is kind of just BS, it's like all this nonsense of magic, mumbo jumbo type of thing. Because at this point in my life, 18, 19, I kind of disconnected from the Navajo to Diné culture as well. So I was kind of legitimately lost, didn't know who to believe in, what to believe in. So I think I had that openness to explore other beliefs, other cultures. And yeah, that this is what guided me down that path of energy work, what I've discovered to be Reiki nowadays. And so that's where I kind of learned that initially, was from that Egyptian witch who taught me how to like channel my energy in the palm of my hand. And over the years, just casual, just practicing till it became second nature. And for years, I have no idea that it was called Reiki until my cousin sister, my coworker, kind of mentioned that. I was telling her about that. And so, these gifts I have inherently, I'm still discovering them. Like with the tarot, I didn't realize I was that good of a reader until I started doing it. So I started practicing it. And the same with the Nordic runes as well. I didn't realize I had gifts for them until I started practicing and going for it. Whether these were just gifts I had all along, or if I just unlocked it because I became worthy enough to unlock these abilities, I know not. But yeah, just over the years, the studies I've done just to grow my skills and my gifts, it kind of was just a hobby on the side. I've only recently started doing it more serious, more on a daily practice with the tarot now. But yeah, just the more you practice a skill, the stronger it gets. Is true when it comes to magic and being a pagan witch. The more you do your spells, the more knowledge you'll hold, the more understanding you'll gain, and the more you connect your energy with those of Mother Earth, the divine, and the more you connect that energy with yourself, just the more knowledge, the more openness you'll discover from within yourself. And that's where our true potential lies. I feel, and I found out, our love, our light, especially towards ourselves, is what's key to that infinite growth, that infinite power. Have a talk. And I just to these days, I noticed that too many people, especially my age, I'm 1999, one of my Gen Z, millennial. We spend way too much time, and even the younger generations now too. We spend way too much time on our screens, our phone screens, computer screens, playing our video games, streaming. That we legitimately have this sort of disconnect with not only Mother Earth but
Right.
everything around us, and we forget to appreciate nature, appreciate the beauty of where we live. So that's why very recently too, I've been taking time every night to just unplug and watch the sunset for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, watch the moon rise, watch the sunrise, even like cloud gaze for 15 minutes. That kind of resets you in a way to, reconnect you back to where we are. We're on planet Earth. We only have one home. This is our home that we need to take care of it. And that kind of just taught me to appreciate the beauty of our home, to appreciate beauty of our existence in a way too. And yeah, I'm more happy to be alive now, definitely, than I have been in the past. There was times where I didn't want to be, but I'm very thankful and very grateful that I am still here, that I never gave up. Hecate, my main goddess, she reminded me of the strength that I have, and so do the other gods and goddesses that I work with. This reminded me that I am strong enough, that I am worthy enough to keep climbing, to pull myself out of my darkness. I definitely didn't kill my darkness or defeated my darkness. I made peace with my darkness. I accepted that I am a flawed being, but that those flaws are what makes me human and makes me who I am to this day. And so that's where a saying was taught to me, amor fati. It's Latin for love your fate. And that just talks about all the stuff we have been through in this life, the good, the bad, the ugly moments in life, taught us the lessons we need to learn at the time to become the beings we are today. So if you're in one of those storms right now where you're doubting yourself, where you're doubting, your worth, you're questioning, yourself, it's like, just wait. It's like as annoying as this saying is, I heard it my whole life. Is like, just be patient. Things will get better down the road. Every storm will pass. That is the only way you get to see the rainbow, is have to wait till the storm ends. Then you can see the rainbow and the beauty of the storm. But yeah, definitely going through the storms, the storms of life, depression, the panic attacks, anxiety. Yeah, they're scary. They're not fun to deal with, and you legit feel like giving up sometimes. Where the storms feel like hurricanes, but just here to remind you that, storms will pass. And if you believe in your strength, you can get through anything, especially what you already been through with, Amor Fati, with all the stuff we have already been through. We know we have the strength to get through what comes next because we had the strength to get to where we are today. And
Mhm.
I don't know if you guys watched it. 28 days later, or like 28 years later,
Yeah.
the newer ones, it actually taught me a little bit about memento mori and memento
Yeah.
amoris, and just more reminders of to love and appreciate our existence for what we have, who we are as beings, and just sharing that with the world. And I think that's why I'm here as well. It's like I live in the middle of nowhere, and yet I impact people on a regular basis because all the tourists we get, worldwide tourists. And I always think of, like, what am I here for? What's my purpose? And these past couple years, just being at the gas station where I work, where you guys met me, I met people from like Europe, Australia, China, people from all over the world I get to meet at that random gas station in the middle of Utah. And, I
Mhm.
share with them the same thing I share with you guys, my experience, my advice, my story, whether people learn from that, good, if they feel entertained and satisfied from just hearing my stories, like even better. Especially if I work in customer service. So if I can make you smile in our short time together, then, I did a good job because, I added a bit of that happiness to your life. I added a bit of my light to your life type of situation. And that's how I legitimately choose to live my life. So, and I was telling Don earlier, it's like, you can hate me all you want. You can call me, a jerk, an asshole, all this negativity you can add. It's not going to affect me. I know this is kind of a darker way of looking at it, but I've been through worse. I survived my own darkness. You think your darkness can, bother me worse than my own can, type of thing. So, but yeah, that's just kind of how I look at life these days, and I try to share that love and that light with everybody, no matter what. For me, it doesn't matter which race, religion, beliefs you have. I don't care about your background. I just really care about the quality of your character and, sharing that love, respect, and kindness. And yeah, that just leads to peace, that inner peace. I definitely found that a lot easier these days. And I know that I'm not where I want to be, but I will get there in time. And I think that's what makes this existence worth living, is that promise, that potential. We have that unlimited growth. If we constantly believe in ourselves, if we love ourselves enough, we can get to where we want to. Even if anybody else doubts us, as long as we believe in ourselves, we can get there. And so that's
Mhm.
what I usually say is, it's like, I don't have what I want right now, but one day I will. One day I'll have the home, the job, the family. Right now I may not have that, but one day I will.
Mhm.
And that's what gives me hope. And that's what makes
Mhm.
me, hope for the future. Is just that one day.
I
And
got a
that's what I would
question.
like to share with everybody. It's like,
Uh,
he's like, you may not have what you want now, but one day, if you work at it, because that's what matters.
mhm.
Then with the
Yeah.
Sweet.
paranormal, I definitely would love to go out there to explore more in the area. I know there's legends of a howler here in Helchita, and I know
Yeah.
there's a few skinwalker stories from this area.
Before we go down that way, I have a few questions for you. I have two questions for you actually.
Yes, sir.
Um, do you think magic changes reality or changes the person using it?
Ooh, that's a very. One more time.
Um, do you think magic changes reality or it changes the person using it?
A bit of both, if I'm being honest. In my case, in my experience, magic definitely did change my reality, but I had to put the
Mm,
work in first. Um,
mm,
There's just one quote from a movie. I think it was the Bruce Almighty. It's the random movie, but Morgan Freeman, he plays
Yeah.
he plays God. And one of the sayings he has in that is like, if you pray to your gods for, more money, better house, will the gods grant you that wish, or will they give you the opportunity to make that wish come true? If you pray to the gods for success in finances, or weight loss, or whatever goals may be, will they just instantly grant you that wish, or will they give you the opportunity to make that wish come true? So I believe
Mhm.
it's a bit of both. You're putting that magic into reality to make that change, but you also have to
Mhm.
make that change yourself. Put in that work yourself. So I believe it's
Right.
a mixture of both. Is that you create your own magic, and that magic can change you depending on how your mindset is, whether it's positive or negative. That self love
Mhm.
versus self hatred. That's where the change and power comes from. Because if you don't believe in yourself, if you have that negative mindset, that will lead you down the negative side of life, the drugs, the alcohol, the pain, the misery. But if you focus on that self love, self positivity, you can, change reality in both senses of good and bad.
Awesome. Two more questions for you. Then we'll go down the Howler and Skinwalker trail. Okay. Let's see here. Actually, looks like it might be three questions. Okay. Have you ever felt watched while practicing alone?
Definitely, for sure.
And who do you think would be watching you, or how would you know that you're being watched?
It depends on the situation. For me, when I'm actively doing my prayers and my spell works, I can definitely feel the presence of my goddesses, or whichever deity I am working with, god or goddess. And I know
Mhm.
that here at home, when I'm in my room, when I'm in my house, I feel no negative eyes on me. But when I'm outside, especially away from my home, so like coming back from work, or this one time I had to go drop off a coworker way out in towards the BCA area, where it's
Way
more
out
more Yanny country, we call it.
there.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely felt eyes on me coming back from my coworkers, because I had to go drop them off one night. So I came back alone, like two in the morning, just driving down that old Hall Road. I definitely felt negative energy watching me, like I was intruding on their territory. So there are times where I do feel something's watching me, but I know here at home I'm protected. I know at the store I'm protected, but I can definitely feel when something's watching me, and I know it has ill intent. If it doesn't have ill
Mhm.
intent and just wants to hang out, I usually invite it, because it may be curious on, to learn who I am. Again, it's like I don't spread that hatred. I just, like, oh, welcome, welcome, that kind of energy. But if I know they have ill intent, or if I feel that negativity, I'm like, nah, you're not welcome. Not right now, at least.
That leads me to the next question here. What protection methods do you trust most against negative entities?
For me, I definitely grew up in that traditional Navajo Diné belief. So for me, I always wear my bracelet, my turquoise. I try not to leave the house without any turquoise. I always at least try to have my bracelet or my necklace on. My mom made
Mhm.
me the little medicine pouch with an arrowhead with a few other herbs. I wear that necklace as well. For my pagan side, I have the pentagram here that shields me from the outside forces. I also have little Hecate pendant as well, which provides me that protection, and also just me myself too. I just picture like a small little force field, like a bubble around my being, that I don't let anybody's energy puncture it, this type of thing. Because when I'm out there for myself. I'm out there to do what I need to do, and not worry about any negativity affecting me. So I do my best to subconsciously have my shields up when I'm away from my house. And so yeah, just doing prayers and blessings to the gods, goddesses, just asking them for their protection as well, their guidance as well. You kind of feel that the safety around you type of energy.
Hmm. Good answer. Good answer. Darren, do you have any questions for Evander before we go on to round 2 story time?
Yeah, for the gods. Those barrier mound or burial not burial areas that belong to a certain god. How you were talking about Egypt. Do you think you can the power only resides in that Egyptian area? Same with like the Navajo Nation. Like you have the four mountains and
Yeah.
the gods right there. Do you think that their work can pass through a different land, or how does that work, or what's your intake on that? And also, I'm kind of curious too. When you do your reading and when you do your meditations and all that, do you see how would you say it, images in the air? Like do you see movement in the air? We had a brief conversation about this with my brother. I guess you would call him my brother-in-law. Um, and he went through a ceremony and he started seeing how you say it, those geographic shapes and all that stuff in the air. Have you ever encountered or seen anything like that?
So far, no. Whenever I'm doing my mind magic, I don't have the sight yet. Because I know my cousin, my coworker, the one I was keep talking about, she has it. She can actively see stuff, see spirits. I can only feel them right now. I can feel like the energy presence or like the energy of the area being disturbed. The only time I really have any memory of seeing something, the few times I did meditate, I remember I think I was connected to my dragon energy. I remember just seeing darkness and then all of a sudden just an eye opening up. It's a dragon's eye. And I remember being freaked out at first, so I was like disconnected from that energy. That was when I first started. I honestly haven't tried connecting to that energy again yet. I guess I got that scared, that terrified from it. But that's one of the only times I can think of seeing something. I saw the dragon's eye open up, and one of the other times last winter, I was meditating a bit with my runes, and I remember 2 or 3 runes, kind of like the Matrix. Remember how the numbers are like moving up and down? But it was the runes kind of like just flickering in and out. I remember seeing a few of them distinctly. It's like popping up real quick. And I found that very interesting. But other than that, no, I haven't been able to actually see anything with my own eyes. But I definitely feel the energy shift.
Yeah,
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that whatever that what Darren was talking about. I heard Bob Lazar say that when he was working in Area 51, he saw the alien writings. He said it was in between like Korean and then like he described like kind of like alien like type of deal. And one of the person asked him, "Do you think it's a demonic technology?" So it could be it. Could be not. Could be sacred messages and coding. It's who really knows. No one's an expert at all this for sure. Oh, oh yeah. I had another question. Do you think wait, where was it at? Do you think dreams are just like a random occurrence when we sleep, or do you think dreams are portals and messages from another dimension for us to carry on to this dimension?
You're pressing the right buttons because I love that kind of question. I personally believe that dreams are windows into alternate universes, like ultimate timeline type of things. Oh, that is way too bright. I don't have my lamp on, so I'm using my TV.
All good.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I personally believe that dreams are just kind of like a window into the alternate universes, alternate timeline type of things. But me personally, I don't dream often. I dream very rarely. I rarely have dreams. And so what they say with that, people who don't have much dreams, they say that your alternate times, your alternate selves across the dimensions, they're no longer alive. That's why you have very
Yeah.
limited dreams. So
Ab-
there's that aspect of it. But then at the same time, I also hear that, dreams are just messages from the divine, from the cosmos, from the creator, so that dreams do have certain messages, certain warnings, depending on, what you dream about. So dreams are very powerful depending on what the dream is about. But I also find
Yeah.
it very fascinating too, because I just swear I have some of these like deja vu dreams. I'll have
Yeah.
these dreams of stuff that hasn't happened, and down the road, maybe like a few months, even to a few years later, you're like, "Hey, I dreamed of this moment. I remember this weirdly coincidental, specific moment in time. I remember this." I had that recently this past week at work. I remember it's like, "Hey, deja vu."
Yeah.
right.
But I
Yeah,
They
haven't
say
had
that.
anything like that in a while.
Oh, that's
yeah.
good.
It's
Go
one
ahead,
of
Jared.
the strangest things about dreams, and this deja vu. All it almost seems like all of my life I've been having that. Even when it comes down to movies. There's an actor. He played in Everest. He plays Deadpool. I think he's Cable, and
Oh yeah.
he played in 3 different movies. And I can remember,
Mhm.
watching that movie, watching the whole movie as a kid, and then later on, just uh, staying with the Everest. Like, oh yeah, I seen this movie. I haven't seen this movie in a long time. And then one of my brothers, he kind of looked at me like, "What are you talking about? This is just released last year." Like, no, I seen it as a kid. Same thing with the one where the movie where the fire and the fire kind of wipes out the fire group, the Hot Shots. He was in that movie
Oh
too,
yeah.
Oh,
and I
okay.
Oh,
Okay.
remember,
Josh Brolin. Yeah,
yeah,
I
and I
remember.
remember
Yeah.
watching that movie, and I explained the whole movie to them, and he's like, "Oh yeah, then right here they're gonna lay down and cover themselves with that fire blanket." And they just kind of looked at me like, "What are you talking about? This is a new movie. Like, what are you talking about? What do you mean?" And I was like, "Well, come on, you guys, don't play with me. Like I seen this
Right.
movie." And then as for that, like, how do you even wrap your mind around it? Like, yeah, I watched this entire movie when I was a younger kid. Now the movie just got released, but as for why, I don't know. I can't give you the right answer for that, but it's
Mm.
it's centered around that character, that man. And
Mm.
even better for Deadpool, he's a time traveler too. So I don't know.
Right.
so that's just all of the just adds all to the weirdness, and stuff like that just makes the world a lot more interesting. To sit there and gather around like-minded individuals and talk about random stuff like this. So it's deja vu. But as for that, the medicine man, he was saying that the deja vu, it means that your life is going on the right track. Your life is going
That's
on the
what I
right
heard.
track. So
Yeah.
Yep.
so saying that, well, that's good. That's a good thing. But
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
but as for why
Mhm.
it's centered around this character, I don't know. I could not give you that. But yeah,
Mhm.
it's really a trip, dude. It's really a trip talking about stuff
It
like this.
sure is. It
Yep.
sure is. We're running starting to run low on time here. Evander, you want to tell us your Howler story and then finish us off with the Skinwalker one?
Yeah, I was asking mom and dad to talk about some of their stories. They gave me a few of them. So story number one, this is mom and dad's story. So here at home, we have our backyard facing the west. So I guess they were outside one time. I was just here. I think this was back in high school or after college, after COVID. Because I remember just being back here, and I remember just playing games here in my room. So I was here just playing games. My window was closed, so I didn't hear anything. Next thing I know, mom or one of my parents from inside asked me if I heard something. I was like, "No, what'd you guys hear?" And both of them are like, they came inside, kind of both freaked out. They're like, "We just heard something scream or howl towards the western side of the village. So this it would be the southwest of Helchita towards that canyon area. They said that
Oh
they heard
yeah.
something just like scream or howl, and they said it was close. They said that they felt the vibration. You know, they
Oh.
felt it. So they said it was that close to them. But I didn't hear anything because my windows were going. My windows were closed. I think my video game was just a little too loud to hear the outside. But that's what they said. They said they heard it was close enough that way they could feel the vibration. So they got freaked out, and they were way by the fence, putting gas into one of the vehicles. But so they were kind of like out there, maybe like 100 feet away from the house, you know, like kind of far. So it was about twilight too. So about this time where it was like, you know, day night, you know, switching there. So it's a little bit darker, so they couldn't see what made that noise, but they said it was close enough to where they felt the vibration.
That
So
area
that's
where
the
you
first howler
described.
story that they shared. And
Oh
so
yeah. Okay.
and then the second one was when I was even younger. I was probably like 7, 8. We were coming back from Farmington, New Mexico, one of the late trips. So everybody coming through probably like 9, 10 at night. We're coming from Valley of the Gods. Remember that turn by Gooseneck, that kind of like that downhill where you have the guardrails on side of
Yeah.
roads. I think it was. I want to say dad was driving, mom was passenger, and I was a kid asleep in the back. Remember when you were a kid, you just sleep in the back seat, you'd take up the whole row. I remember that's how I was asleep. So mom was saying there was a semi going in front of them, going southbound on 163 to Mexican Hat, and it slammed on its brakes really hard to where my parents had to slam on the brakes. I remember like being tossed forward, waking up, and the semi passed, and then my parents passed. The next thing I heard, you know, mom and dad like, "What was that? What was that? Did you see that?" So apparently, what they saw on the side of the road where the T-post markers are, there was a skinwalker, not a skinwalker, maybe a Bigfoot. They were saying standing next to it. So they said that like the top of the top of that T-post thing was here. The figure was like this much taller than it. So dad was saying that was like
Oh,
hip
that's
height
tall.
on top. So I can't remember how tall those T-posts were, but
They're
he said that
tall,
the
yeah.
T-posts were here and the creature was here. So it was like maybe like waist high. This thing was probably like 8, 9 feet tall. But as they were past it, it jumped back down the hill where you can't see it anymore. But they said it was sitting right by the highway. So what they were thinking is that it was going to cross the road, the highway, but it saw the semi come up, so it waited.
Hmm.
So that's
Wow.
the other Bigfoot story that they shared.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. The first story, right where you said where the scream was coming from, back there is where I had my encounter.
Yeah,
And that's where I took Darren. Yeah, Darren and I were back there and we saw tons of UFOs, man, the whole time.
there's something on that side of the village for sure.
Yeah. That it drains into the wash and then goes into the San Juan River.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's something bad there. It chased my mom and my little sister Sasquatch chased both of them.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. My mom was from VCA area. It
Uh-huh.
chased her all the way from the Y to the community, all the way home.
Oh, dang, that's quite a
Then
ways.
yeah, that's far.
Right?
Yeah, I took
Yeah,
Darren.
that
I
is
was talking
far.
to Darren. Yeah, we
Yeah,
did
I
it.
know.
We did the drive, and my sister was going to the DNA building before it got burned down. It
Yeah.
chased her from Mexican Hat, the elementary school. It caught up to her right that at that intersection. She ran home. She said it followed her all the way home. Said the arms was long. It was black, jet black
No.
fur.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Oh,
um,
that reminds me of
yeah.
the other one I saw. I think this one was last summer. I did see something like that. The same dog-like creature from the work story. I was here at home. I have a balcony outside, and so one night after work, I was just smoking a cigarette on my balcony, looking to the north. And so over here on the eastern side of my village, I heard the dogs barking. And as I was out there just smoking, and kind of like I backed up from the ledge, like into the shadows to where it wouldn't nothing could really see me. Dog's freaking out on the eastern side, and then it gets closer, and then I see something in the distance. It's on the edge of the light and darkness, so I can barely see it. But it looked like a dog creature thing, and it jumped over one of these fences, my neighbor's fence. I remember seeing it jump up, land, and it ran along the hill that's by my house, and then across the highway and towards the same direction as the howler. And then the dogs on that side of the village started barking. So whatever this was, legitimately ran across the whole entire village. And I saw it just run. I was like, thanking the gods it didn't see me or book it towards me. And so as soon as I felt it pass, I just flicked my cigarette. I'm like, that's it. I'm going back in. Because it was after work, so it would have been like 12:31 in the morning.
Oh yeah, that's the perfect time for
Yeah.
strange things to go down. Yeah, need to leave some trail cams out for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. I want to get security cameras for the house, but I'm slightly afraid that what we're going to capture.
Right. Yeah, I'm the same way.
Right.
Even back at the
Just
house.
us, I'll let you know. I'll be like, hey, you don't want to see this one.
Like, don't look at it.
But I'll take this one for the team.
Right.
You did mention your parents. So we're getting wood at Cedar Mesa, and they heard Sasquatch up there.
Yeah, I asked my mom for that story. It was her brother, and a couple of the nephews. They went up to Cedar Mesa one time. It was just my mom's truck and my grandpa's truck. So my mom's brother. It was those two with their pickups. So I guess they were just getting wood up in Cedar Mesa, using the chainsaw and the axes. And I guess they started hearing branches breaking, what maybe sounded like trees falling in the distance, coming closer and closer to them, and they were just wondering what it was. And I guess they got freaked out enough because whatever was coming their way was just getting closer and closer because they kept hearing the branches break or the trees breaking or whatever. So they all got freaked out. Before it got close enough, they just took off, hauled butt out of there so quick, they said. And then they didn't stop until they were like a few miles near the down the main highway. That's when they finally got out, was able to calm down a bit. And that's pretty much what my mom told me today with that story. So they don't know what it was. But there is definitely something up in Cedar Mesa. At least that's what I believe.
Yeah, I took my wife up there on our first date. We walked up the West Ear, and as we're walking up there, I heard all those pine trees snapping and breaking. A lot of them pop, 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 coming my way. And I told my wife to run. She was my girlfriend back then. She was in heels. She ran all the way down the ear, jumped into the truck, and I was right behind her, trying to look back. I was expecting the moose or an elk, but the trees kept popping, and I never got to see what chased us down the ear. So, I can relate to your parent and to family members on that. So, I did run on that one. What were you going to say, Darren?
Cedar Mesa is where we ended. We're up there.
Yeah, just past the Monkey Dog Way.
Man, I can imagine trying to flee away in a vehicle driving down that snake road right there.
The switchbacks for sure.
Yeah, no way, man. That's creepy.
Dude, it was pretty scary, wasn't it, Darren? It was pretty high up there. Like, oh shit, okay.
Telling God, like, yeah, I'm an iron worker that's afraid of heights. Now, what kind of bogus stuff is this now? So
the worst part about it nowadays is where it's just kind of flat, no guardrails, just flat and drop off. Yeah, stay close to the wall.
Yeah, hug the wall.
I got another question with that. Those lights that you showed us, how long have you been seeing them for?
I first noticed them last year, I think it was like last May, June, when I started noticing them. And every night, whenever I go out, I just kind of look in the same direction for a while to see if I can see them moving. And sure enough, I'll eventually see them. So I've been seeing them for about a year, but however long before that, I have no clue.
Yeah,
But I
it's
remember,
Check this out, guys. Right here. This is the best that I can get for you guys from my spotter camera.
yeah, they're just like
There's,
small 1 to
yeah,
2.
yeah, they get
there's
really
two of
bright.
them right there.
You just follow,
Yep.
kind of follow each other, and Don and I were laughing, but we weren't laughing. We were just kind of like talking about like, why are they even doing that? You know, like what's the purpose of them
Yeah,
back and forth? You know, like in a body movement, why would you waste all your energy just doing the same movement over and over again? You know, like why why do that? What are you trying to say? You know, it was really odd, but man, it went on for maybe 3 hours. But we have
yeah.
those lights back in the house too.
It's hard to say because we were looking at them too, and we are trying to like figure out what they were, whether they were just satellites orbiting the Earth, but how frequently they would pop up. I don't think that's enough time to go around the globe the entire ways. I have no idea
Yeah,
how long it will take a satellite to do a full rotation around the Earth to pop up on the horizon again that brightly and that quickly. So, and then with how many, because it was like the most I've seen is maybe like three rows of lights moving across the sky at once.
Mhm.
So I don't know if these are just satellites reflecting the sunlight, or I don't know. But I find it very fascinating, and I remember um, looking to the south where the twin volcanoes are, the twin peaks I
Mhm.
call them. I remember the spiral UFO. Have you ever guys seen those ones
Yeah,
before? Like the
yeah,
spiral portals. I remember a couple of my classmates seen that when I was in junior high because they sent me pictures and videos of it. And then when me and my dad went outside, I guess our shack was blocking the view, so we didn't see it. But if we came upstairs and looked that way, we would have saw it. It was just being blocked by our storage container outside. But right above the Twin Peaks is where the portal, I call it, the rotating UFO phenomenon.
Mhm.
That's the only ones I can remember here in Helchita, along with the power outages and some of the Skinwalker sightings. So Helchita is kind of pretty active. At night,
Yeah,
you'll still hear the dogs freak out, usually around 2:30 to 3:30, because I'm usually up still by that time. So that's usually when the dogs would start like really barking and freaking out.
Would you
And so that's when I
has
try to peek outside, see if we see anything.
use a thermal spotter or because Bigfoot likes to run on houses. He ran on the house my uncle lives in
yeah,
over there. My
Oh,
aunt and my
that,
uncle heard it.
there's times where you hear the on top of the houses too. And I always find
Oh
those
snap!
fascinating. I'm like, is that just a house settling? The loud like clicks and bangs. But sometimes
No,
it's just like that.
yeah,
You look at the time, I'm like, it's a bit too late for the house to be making that kind of noise.
man.
yeah. He likes to run on top of houses. Jumps off the house, gets on top of the house. Sometimes he jumps on the house and falls, boom, on the ground, and hops back right on top. So
Yeah,
that's the big guy. The big guy. He was caught. My uncle, my aunt caught that guy twice. Bigfoot
Ooh.
doing that. So look out for that guy, And my little brother, he went outside around 2 in the morning to have a smoke. And then this is closer by the old elementary school. Then he said he heard a long whistle. He said this whistle wasn't a human whistle. He said this
Ooh.
was something bigger from a bigger set of lungs and a big mouth. And he said it froze. He froze. And he was scanning around. And he said that he spotted two pairs of eyes glowing by
Ooh.
this burnt down house, and it
Uh-huh.
was standing on the concrete and was whistling, looking right at him. He said the whistle was longer than 25 seconds.
Oh
And
wow.
he said he put out his smoke. He said he didn't finish it. He put it out and he slipped back inside and closed it. He
Oh,
was like,
I
nope.
bet.
yeah. There's
Yeah, and
that.
then like the teacher's trailers, there
Yeah.
used to be a stop sign right there, and his aunt came outside with her daughter in the middle of the night, and then they heard a whistle, I believe, too, and they looked that way and they seen the stop sign. They seen Bigfoot standing beside it, and that stop sign was at his shoulder.
Oh,
and this thing was a lot larger and wider, and it was whistling. It says I was reflecting from that street light, and so it was a long whistle too. And they went back inside. So he's like a scary movie horror guy.
I personally haven't heard the whistle yet, but I wonder if that's what my parents heard as well. Because they did say it was kind of long.
Yeah, if it's a scream whistle longer than 25 seconds, that's Bigfoot. And if it gets louder too, and if your windows vibrate and if your insides vibrate, that's Bigfoot. That's him because he can hit all that stuff, you know.
Yeah,
So
that sounds like
Courtney,
what my parents experienced. Yeah, the vibration and the shaking. Yeah.
yeah, that's him right there. Mhm.
Yeah, that's one of the weirdest
Cool.
feelings to have right there. You know, something so loud it rattles your body. You know, it rattles your guts, shakes your eyeballs. Like, what the heck is
Yeah.
that? You know,
Right.
Yeah.
that happened to me before too. Bigfoot, man, believe it or not. When we met, you know, you brought a something really really interesting that, you know, it kind of opened my eyes a bit. You mentioned that you know, these UFOs, they're these lights, you know, triangles. You know,
Yeah.
like, and you said that, and it's like I started to notice that there's more of them in the sky. And maybe about a week or two later, I was thinking the exact same thing. Like, man, some of these stars, like I've never seen that. Why is it like that? You know, just purple triangle. You know, and then you brought that up, and I was like, whoa, like, oh, dude, maybe, dude, like, who knows? You know, but that was a really interesting thing that you said. You know, and it's one of the strangest things too. So
You remember, Darren, we saw that triangle? You
Yep.
remember that?
Oh,
One was on top and two was on the bottom. We saw that. It lit up really bright and it disappeared. We're like,
Yeah.
oh, that's what Evander was talking about. Yeah, we're all excited.
For sure. My
Awesome.
cousin was the first one that pointed that out. I forgot where she heard it from, but I remember her. She's the one who told me that first. And then ever since she told me that, I can't get my eye out for those, especially the too perfect triangles where where it's just too perfect. And I definitely noticed that when I started to stargaze. I remember thinking that there's sometimes more stars at night, sometimes less stars at night. I found that very interesting, and that's when I started noticing certain stars that weren't here before, they're here now. And so it's like whether they're extraterrestrials, you know, cloaking their ships or whatever, you know, or extraterrestrial beings. You know, for me personally, I was like, I welcome them. I can't wait to make friends with them. I'm just somebody who can be friends with anybody at this point. And so if aliens do exist out there, you know, I'm just excited for the day where we kind of start like interacting with each other on a more social level. But yeah, just seeing them right now is just such a pleasure because no other place you can't even see the stars sometimes.
right.
Yeah, especially with the tourists too that came in. We're in the gas station, and she saw it too, and your coworker. So everyone was talking about the same thing, and that was pretty awesome.
And then that's not the strangest things I've heard that's out here. We got the moving stars, we got the sky beams, we have the portals, whatever you want to call them. But yeah,
when did you see this sky beam?
Skybeam was, I think it was like last winter before Yule, so probably like November-ish. I remember tourists, locals, it was locals coming back late at night, like 10:30, 11. I was at work, and they were asking me, he's like, did you see that? It's like, you know, some of them had pictures, and it was legitimately like a light beam, you know, shooting the sky. Ironically, same spot over Cedar Mesa area. They said it was over there, and I did some research into it. What I found it could possibly have been like the SpaceX launch mission. You know, that happened around that time. That I was just a streak from the rocket, but then some people were saying that it wasn't. So I'm not too sure. But I remember seeing photos of it because they took photos, and I heard it from multiple customers that night. People driving from Kienta to Mexican Hat, people coming north from Bluff. Like pretty much the whole region kind of saw it too, because I heard talks about it the next day. You know, locals. It was it made its round on Facebook, made its rounds on TikTok as well. And I remember,
look out for that.
yes, I don't know how often it happens, but that's another phenomenon. Um,
Uh, um, before we move on, before we go on to Skinwalker one, your stories were running low on time. I don't know if Darren, you remember when we were on Cedar Mesa. You were in the truck and I was yelling at you, Darren, Darren.
Yeah.
I was looking up. I seen a light coming from the southeast and it went right on top of me. And then I seen three more lights appear. They're right across from each other and they started spinning. They went at least one around and
uh-huh.
then they split off. One went north, south, east, and west, and they
Ooh,
disappeared.
Yeah, it was just a
wow.
strange trip up there, man. We've seen so much lights, and just Don and myself, like a bunch of kids on Christmas, we're just like, "Whoa, what is that? Look at that!" You know. So we're on live on TikTok too. So I'm pretty sure everybody was had a good time with us on that too. But
Dude,
yeah,
that sounds like
definitely up
fun.
there.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, definitely up there for sure.
They are. It was amazing. It was amazing. Um, Evander, could you lead us into your Yana Loshi stories before we close out?
Yeah, definitely. The best one I got is the one that happened to me at work. So I work at the gas station in Mexican Hat, the 7-Eleven. Remember this happened, I believe, August or September, October of 2024. So it's been a couple of years. We had this stray dog that somebody just dumped off a couple months before. So he's been with us for a good few months at this point. So I'd never seen him bark as aggressively as he was that night. So the store layout, the doors are facing, I want to say like the east, southeast, and then that direction. So facing the east parking lot, I saw him just barking aggressively towards the back of our store. And so just out of curiosity, because I've never seen him bark this aggressively before. So I rounded to the corner of the store where the dumpsters are back here, and the building's here, dumpsters are here. And so I rounded the corner to see what he was barking at. As soon as I rounded the corner, I locked eyes with this creature that I've never seen before. To me, at first glance, it looked like a husky, like a big old husky dog. The longer I looked at this thing, I was like, that's too big to be a husky. But it was the a dog breed. I would say, like, think of a Great Dane, like that big of a dog, but with like kind of like matted fur. And we locked eyes, that thing and I just remember just seeing like two just pitch black dots, and you could tell its muzzle because it turned its head towards me, and as soon as it did, I just still remember it. This smile it wasn't a dog smile; it was like a person smile. Think like smile dog, like creepypasta smile dog, just
Huh.
forming its smile. And I felt no fear in that moment, but I couldn't move. I remember just locking eyes with it. My hand went to my knife, as I was ready to go if it made its move. And I remember just calling out to my cousin, my coworker, just calling her over. And she was like, oh God, so what now? So she rounded the corner next to me, and she sees it too. And you could feel her energy. She has that like, oh crap energy. And it just like all jokes, everything just got so serious so quickly. And me and her just stared at it for maybe like a good 10-15 seconds. And I had told her, I was like, what do we do? What should we do? And Joni was like, well, I'm going back inside, so she started walking backwards. And I remember her grabbing the back of my collar, like pulling me back with her. And so as soon as we broke contact, I just turned around, walked back to the front doors and talking to my cousin, we were just like, what was that? What the heck was that? And she was like, I think that was a skinwalker. I think that was a Yanny. And for me, I'm like, part of me was excited, but also, that fear, like, oh, that was it. That's what it looked like, like this. But then at the same time, Baxter was still barking aggressively. we looked that way towards Baxter, and I remember this little white dog came out, maybe like a medium size, like a pug size dog. It was nice and clean fur, all like poofy, like it just had a bath with a brand new collar. And Baxter was just aggressively barking at the little thing, and I never seen him this aggressive with anybody. This is the first time I've seen him. So then my cousin was like, "Don't pet that. That's not a dog. That's whatever we saw on the heel, because the fur was too clean, like it was too white. If you have a white dog on the res, you have that natural like red dirt that's already on the fur. Not this dog. This dog was like clean, white as a cloud. So me and my cousin, we went back inside, and we just legitimately just did a prayer. We took the bitter medicine. We said a prayer, and for me and her, we legit felt the energy clash between like the divine energy of the gods and goddesses we pray to in that moment clash with the Yanni energy, and we felt pretty much the gods so we felt that clash, and we felt that negative energy just be yeeted away. And we felt in that moment that our gods, our protectors, they were like angry, they were like very upset to whoever that was, whoever sent that creature to us. They were just upset, and so that's who they went after. So karma bit that person quick. They weren't supposed to, be there at the store in the first place. They weren't, supposed to be on property type of thing. So that skinwalker in that moment, like it crossed so many boundaries in such a short time that whoever's watching over me, watching over my cousin, they got really upset really quickly, and they faced that skinwalker back onto the reservation side, because the gas station is off the reservation. And what my cousin was telling me, her grandpa taught her that skinwalkers, Yannis, they're not meant to leave the reservation. They're meant to stay on, and they're not allowed to be off of it. So that's one reason why it got shot back. So that was a very interesting experience for me. That was just more proof that this is real, in a sense that our mythology is real, along with the divine is real. So over the last few years, moments like that is what cemented my belief in the divine, in the goddesses, the gods who watch over us. They really do protect us, and they really do offer that guidance and that protectiveness. The other time I remember clashing with something at work was when this Japanese tourist, it was just, remember the cross country people who just ride their bikes across the country? This Japanese guy, he was there last summer, and he asked to stay overnight at the store. So he had his like tent set up in the back by the dumpsters. That's where he was spending the night. He had an Oni, a Japanese demon, latch with him, because I recognized the energy right off the bat. So I remember going in the back of the store, checking the back door. And I remember feeling just heavy presence at the end of the hall. It's like cliche horror scene at the end of the hallway type of thing. The figure was just there. And I don't know why, I just immediately recognized it as an Oni. And so I was like, hey, good to meet you. You stay over there. I don't want no negativity. And so I went to go clock out in the main office, and I felt it like follow me to the point where it was like it was chasing me. That the cat and mouse energy, when you're being chased, you can feel it. And so I just kind of quickly, first god I thought of was Loki, the Norse god. And so I was like, hey Loki, help me real quick. And so I felt the energy again. Like I felt the Oni energy with Loki. I could feel his energy. Then they clashed, and you felt that explosion of energy. You felt that flash of energy, because chills went down my whole body. And my coworker, who was already in the office, felt it too, because they just got chills out of nowhere. Like they started like shaking, got really cold really quickly, and they legit asked me like, what the heck happened? And I told them that an Oni clashed with Loki. And so it's very interesting to me that they're real like that. They exist that way. And I don't know if anybody else could feel them the way that I can feel my energy. So it's a very interesting experience, and I believe that even with the skinwalkers and the Yannies, that they carry that energy, that aura, where you can just feel that watch, and you can just feel that presence.
Wow. So that's the first story I heard of an Oni on the well, it's a border town in Navajo Nation. But then again, we have a podcast right now, and we hear so much weird stories. Fairies. I would never have thought fairies, but fairies, fairies on Navajo Nation.
Right, the Fae, yeah.
Yeah, and but I just never thought that they would kind of intermingle with one another. But hey, this world is just world of mystery. So
Oh yeah,
is
for
really
sure.
interesting. Really interesting.
And I think that's what it is. Why they taught me, expect the unexpected.
Right.
For moments like that, and so that's kind of what I kind of go into the day with these days. I go into it with an open mind, open heart to what's out there, because you don't know what's real and what's just made for entertainment. And so if it is real and it means no harm, I would always love to befriend it if possible. But yeah, this was a fun thing to be a part of. Again, thank you for inviting me to it. I know you said that we're running low on time, so I want to take a quick minute to share my appreciation and give my thanks to you both for not only inviting me on, but allowing me to speak to your audience, to see, to be here with you guys, to be here with your audience. And yeah, if this helps anybody, you are seen, you are loved, you are heard, you are worthy of life. Never forget that. And then thank you again, Darren, Don. Appreciate you two for inviting me out. And down the road, I look forward to us hanging out again, maybe going on a few ghost adventures of our own, Bigfoot hunting.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
We're getting a ragtag group of guys. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Maybe you can drill Sasquatch for us. Yeah. Go ahead, Darren. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's been really interesting. I think you said a lot of interesting stuff that people don't really talk about, especially with love the world that you're in, and enjoy the life, the good, the bad, because they're both meant to be here together, and we're just caught in the middle of it. And it's okay. We're at the end of the day, you're only human.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And we don't know everything. We're meant to retain it all and share it. It's just like all the information that you drop. I want you to know that that's going to hit someone out there, and it's going to hit them pretty good, to the point where they'll accept it. And they'll love
for sure.
So you dropped a lot of information, man. I'm really happy to have you on. Not just for the ghost and the ghoul side, but just your mindset. I think it's really a very unique mindset that you have, and in the radio ways, get to have it, and
for sure.
Go. But if you want, I would like to get more on the tarot card reading, because we didn't really touch too much on that. I kind of have a lot of questions about it too. So
one last thing. What about the remember we're doing the TikTok live, and I drew a card, and it was about charity. Could you break that card down, the one I drew out, please?
The Seven of Pentacles, if I remember correctly. I don't have my decks on me at the moment. However, I do have.
Sorry,
I do have a few other.
She wants to be held.
Yeah, we got some little cat action on the Allen side too.
Oh yeah. Let's see if we can share it real quick.
Some healing frequencies for you guys right here.
There's Nugget. There's my baby boy.
Oh hey, that's what's up.
So I have him upstairs with me.
Yeah, her name's Suki.
Suki. Well, nice to meet you, Suki. Yeah, the Seven of Pentacles, I believe, was the card that you drew.
Sorry, girl.
Let me see if I can find it real quick.
It talked about charity. Basically, what we're doing here at the show, that's what made it more ironic and It was my first time trying a tarot card, and it was pretty interesting. It was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that was like those were just one of the gifts that I was given, and I didn't even realize how gifted I was with the tarot until I started doing it. I remember one of my old high school classmates. She saw me like shuffle my deck, so she asked what it was, and so I was like, oh, tarot. She said, oh, do my reading, do my reading. So I'm like, sure, I need practice. So how I have my clients, my patients, or whatever you want to call them, I have them ask the cards the question. I don't want to hear the question. You're just asking my cards the question. And so what I do is I'm just a conduit. I am just an energetic conduit from the universe into the cards, because that's what you're asking. So when my patient puts their energy into the card, they're putting their energy through the card, through me, into the cosmos, type of thing, into the divine, to whomever they want to ask their question to whichever deity, creator they believe in, whoever they want to ask for advice. That's who I try to channel through myself, through the cards. So essentially, I'm not speaking to you. The universe is speaking through you, through me, through my cards. And so that's why it kind of gets like draining for me. Not just physically, but kind of like mentally and emotionally, I'll get drained. The main deck I used to use is the Crow Tarot. This was one of my very first tarot decks that I learned with. And when I first got this deck, I remember sitting in the hallway of the store I bought it in, and I unwrapped it, and I started to shuffle the deck, introducing myself to the deck. And out there was a door next to me to the outside. As soon as I started connecting to that, I heard crows cawing outside. The crows signifying that this is my deck. And so this is this deck's version of the Seven of Pentacles, the same card that you got.
Mhm.
And so in the guidebook, it says, the crow rests after embarking on the difficult task of gathering a treasure trove of bright reflective coins that will adorn her nest and make a protective space for her fledglings. The Seven of Pentacles asks that you think about the long term when investing your time and energy, although quick short term gains may be had. In the end, they will not last. Only through hard work and planning will you discover lasting benefits from your work. So, along with the sharing of gifts and knowledge, you're also investing that gift. You're investing that the knowledge, and the pentacles represent like materialistic. So whatever exists here is like money, time, all that stuff that adds value to our lives. What the Seven of Pentacles is telling us is that we need to take time to invest time into our gifts, invest time into our finances. So in the long term, you'll be having that steady foundation instead of having that shaky, unpredictable, unknowable outcome. So the Seven of Pentacles is just all about, not only sharing your gifts, but sharing those investments, sharing those ideas with each other. So that way, then, you can better plan your future. And so, yeah, with the tarot, is just one of those gifts I have where it's kind of scary accurate. I don't even know where it comes from. And
I think it's
so,
scary, period.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny that even though, like, a lot of my family, a lot of my friends, they kind of, I'm a little shunned when it comes to this. They kind of like don't want to talk about it. It makes them uncomfortable. But for me, again, with Hecate being my main goddess, she encourages me to not just face my darkness, but legitimately dive into it. Where I'm standing on the edge of the abyss, I would jump in. I will jump into my own darkness if I need to find a certain answer. So for me, the tarot has been a way to think of like light posts on your path. The path of life. That the tarot is just there to show you which paths are open and what will happen if you choose to walk down any of these paths. But at the end of the day, it's up to you to choose which path to walk down. The tarot is just here to guide you on that path, like saying, "Oh, this is what will happen when you go down this path," or "This one what happens." And so you can kind of use that to your advantage to kind of plan out your future, your goals, your whatever you have in mind you want to achieve. It's like with this podcast, you guys want to get really out there. The cards will kind of let you know, hey, this is what's kind of blocking you. This is what you can do to get rid of that block. Information like that. You're just kind of asking for guidance from the cards, from your deities, whoever you're kind of asking the questions to, whether it be your ancestors. So for me, it's Hecate. Now, shuffling the cards now, the moon came out. And for me, Hecate, really symbolic with the moon, for me at least. And that's the unique thing that I learned about this journey, is that, the gods will reach out to you in your own unique way. I remember with Don, when I brought up Lilith, he shared with me his experience with Lilith, which differs from my experience with her. It's like that's the beautiful thing about this existence too. If you're open and willing to learn from the different deities, different goddesses, gods that exist, each one will teach you in your own unique way. Just the same way, like no two students learn the same way. You can't teach student A the way you teach student B. You need to find how each student learns, and from there, that's how you can guide and nurture them. And that's the same way that I try to teach, with the tarot. I try to teach from different perspectives, different viewpoints. The best way I can kind of talk about too is like the Force from Star Wars, connecting my energy, my Force energy, with that of the cards. And then the cards themselves, they each have their own personalities, their own energy connected. Like with my crow deck here, it's a more feminine energy. And so Sheila is the name that was given to this deck, because I straight up asked, what's your name? Sheila was the first name that popped in my head. And so that's the name for this deck. So each deck has its own personality, its own quirks. And I think that's something that my dad taught me growing up. Same way with your vehicles. He taught me, if you take care of your vehicle will take care of you. If you take care of your house will take care of you. And for me, that just kind of formed that belief that everything, and in a way, has its own soul. If it exists, it has its own soul. Like your phone, your computer, even a video game controller. It's like if you take care of it well enough, it takes care of you. So it's like if you put that love into it, it will give that love back. It's kind of how I see it now. And I think it's just a really unique way to see this existence, and a fun way to do that. Like try it out next time. Like your car, your ride, even like your favorite pen. Treat it with unconditional love when you're, and like acknowledge it. And you'll be surprised on how that kind of comes back to you. And it usually does in a way you don't expect. I think that's what makes life fun. And then with the tarot too, it makes it very interesting as well. When you not see it as just pieces of paper. That's because technically it's just pieces of cardboard with pictures printed on it. But the way I see it is that this thing, not even a thing. My friend here has its own energy. It has its own soul. And so if you can connect to the tarot deck in that way, the readings become that more intimate, that much deeper, because you no longer see it as just, as just a card. You'll see it as, as a friend, as a partner, as, with love, talking about love, how it just pops up like that. Yeah. If you take that viewpoint, not with just yourself, but with everything around you, that viewpoint of just unconditional love, positivity, respect, the gifts we have, it'll come back in a way you never really fully expect. And most times it'll catch you off guard. Hence why, expect the unexpected. And so, that's how I see the tarot nowadays. And that's how I accept my gift. Is that I see my tarots not only as an extension of my energy, but as their own being in a way. So Fila is not just my tarot deck; she's a friend. You know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
Really
I'm
interesting.
gonna have to bring this in for landing, guys. Um, Mr. Evander, thank you for sharing all your knowledge with us because Darren and I, we don't know much about all this. I mean, I played a Ouija board before and I'm never going to do that again.
I was gonna
That's as
say,
far as I'm going to go with that. But is there any last shout outs you would like to give, Evander, before we close this show down?
just to my cousin, the same coworker I work with. I know she was excited when I told her about this. She was the one who's like giving me that, like, go for it, go for it. So shout out to you, little sister. You know who you are, and I appreciate you. And thank you for believing in me. And for sure, thank you again for you and Darren to invite me out again. But yeah, if you guys ever have any questions, hit me up. I'm always here. Especially if you need help with anything spiritual or paranormal, I'll be here to help. No, I find the world of paranormal and supernatural very fascinating, and yeah, I'm forever a student of life. I'm always open to learning new knowledge and sharing my perspective with others. So again, thank you so much for having me on your show.
Yeah, right. It's interesting to hear you. You hear you speak and hear you talk. So, that's a plus. That's just a giant plus for everybody that's listening. And shout out to Baxter too. The little dog.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Rest in peace, Baxter.
Yeah, good boy. So, to that, yeah, wherever in the area again, man, we'll hit you up. Maybe even if you want to go out and chase some monsters with us, that'll be more of a plus. So
Heck yeah,
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
bring my archery stuff.
Heck yeah. Well, definitely. Who knows what we look for? The Dogman, Bigfoot, little people portals. Who knows? But we'll definitely keep you in mind for sure when we're around the area, and we'll dedicate this episode to Baxter. This is for you, buddy. Good boy out there.
boy.
Yep. Looks like Darren, you want to say later to everyone before I
Oh.
close the show down?
Later. Thank you. Like, share, and subscribe. So.
Oh yeah.
Definitely, and thank you to all those who took time to listen to us. And I just want to take a quick moment again to thank your audience members. It's like I know this episode is not out yet, but still, thank you to everybody who listened to this episode. Thank you for listening to me, a first timer on the show, first timer to this in general. So thank you to all those who have listened and to those who hear my words. Yeah, I love you all.
So, Yep, good job, guys, and gonna close this down right now. Okay, thank you for tuning into Don't Whistle at Night. We have been broadcasting live here on the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 in New Orleans. I'm your host, Don Yazzie, co-host Darren, and our guest, Evander Allen. From us, we like to say laters, everyone, and don't whistle at night. All right.
Oh, go on then. Goodbye.
Welcome to Don't Whistle at Night podcast, where Navajo legends echo in the shadows. Darren and Dawn will guide you through the sacred fire of native storytelling, where the old stories breathe, the unknown walks among us, and voices, long hidden, rise to be heard. And remember, don't whistle at night.